An athlete, man. The OU athletics is just every bit of it, top to bottom, is just it's just off the charts, man. Like I think they just won a Capital Cup too last might have been last season, um, for all their sports combined or whatever. And
Oklahoma's always been at the forefront, leading the way when it comes to the complete student body of athletics. Whether it's golf, tennis, I just love this time of year when the women's softball gets started up. The things Patty's done with that program, uh, it's just she's a trendsetter, and to see the way those young ladies compete, I think they single handedly kind of helped bring softball back. ESPN's put a lot of money behind the College World Softball World Championship in Oklahoma. So every sport, wrestling, basketball, they just do well. Just do well. The leadership is great, and it's something to be proud of, without a doubt.
yeah, Patty Gasso's definitely a goat. Definitely the goat of softball.
Ain't
Any kind of coach, like
ain't
she.
no ain't no doubt about it. She is the GOAT when it comes to softball coaching. No doubt about it.
Yeah, she gets those girls fired up, man. And they come out. They're gonna come out. They're ready. I think we got like 3, 4 more days, like I think, till the season opener.
This weekend. This
Yeah, this
weekend.
weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be really nice, man. And
Yeah.
you got Porter Moser there at the basketball team on the basketball
Mm-hmm.
side. It's like they're a real scrappy bunch. If they could just get some kind of flow on the offensive end, it might, instead of like so sporadic, and then they got to work their tail off on the defensive end. They could just find some kind of continuity, on that offensive side. It might be pretty good, man,
They got time for it to come together.
for sure. And then so I gotta ask you, like, what are your thoughts on just like the last 3 months happenings of OU football?
Well, I'm not surprised. I thought from watching the games there was a little bit of letdown, and I really truly believe that kids can sense those type things. The team didn't seem like it was fighting as hard as they had in the past. Um, you know, has some ups and downs, and it was a crazy season. Changing quarterbacks, which I believe was the right thing to do. That's going to kind of splinter a team. It may not fracture, but it definitely can splinter a team. But I think they actually kind of pulled together towards the end. But this is the new age of college football,
Yeah, it's
and but I don't think it damages Oklahoma at all. I think it makes it stronger. I think it makes the young men that have decided to stay and be Sooners till they leave college, till they graduate. It's just gonna make them more mentally tough. I went through something very similar. Uh, we went on probation my sophomore and junior year, and my mother was like, "Yeah, I'm coming to pick you up." I said, "Mom, I'm not leaving." I said, "I'm staying." Uh, my mother and Barry Switzer from the same hometown, and I said, I came here. This is where I wanted to go to school. They ain't nothing gonna change my mind." And I think that's kind of the same way for the young men that have decided to stay. And I'm just telling you, they got great leadership. Coach Venables, I've been watching him from afar. Uh, the man knows how to coach defense. And in order to win in this new day of an age of football, you got to have someone that can coach defense. He's coached at the highest levels. He's been at Oklahoma. He knows what Oklahoma football is about. He's not trying to fool anyone. He's himself. And I think that's going to go a long way to bringing in top tier recruits and saying, "Hey, this is our standard. This is our standard, and this is what we're going to do." And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm looking forward to see how it's all going to come together. And I think it's going to come together real quick, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Excuse me. It's nice seeing them recruit some big boys for that defensive line.
Got
Man,
some
there's
big boys.
big boys. That's who. Like there was no, like Man, it's like I wonder what Winfrey could have been like all season if he had the um, proper coaching. Man, that dude just went off at the Senior Bowl, man.
You know, that's why I said I think some things were going on. Players can sense that type of stuff, man. That just doesn't happen overnight. Something moves that quick, and they can sense it. Is the coach isn't around, or maybe if he's not pushing as much, or they're on edge. So I just want to move forward. I'm happy for the guys. Uh, yeah, and size is going to be important. The thing about Venables, he's been down there looking at Clemson, all right, seeing what they recruit. He's got a bird's eye view of seeing what Alabama does.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to have that viewpoint, say, hey, these are the guys we need to go after. We need size and athleticism on the defensive front. Because whatever those guys do up front, those 4 guys or those 3 guys, whatever he wants to play, that makes it so much easier on the back end.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
And plus, like Venema, he's beat Alabama for national titles. So
that's what that's what I said. He's seen it up. He's seen it up close in person. He knows that defense that he put together. It's not a predictable defense. He's going to play to the strengths of his defensive players. What I like, it's not a one size fits all.
Yep.
His schemes, moving safeties around, walking linebackers in and out, running stunts and twists and blitzing off the weak side sometimes. And it's gonna be really nice to watch and see. And what I like about him, whenever you look at his defenses, you can call a defense, but have you coached the technique to make that call successful? And that's what he does and has done it repeatedly time and time again. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's like you were saying, technique. That is key, man. Like especially with those defensive linemen, their hands, they got to be able to learn how to use their hands. To rip and pull or whatever you need to do. Just hold them up to see where the ball carrier is even going. But yeah, you're right about technique for sure. And so, kind of going off of that a little bit, what do you think about the portal? Like, I think if they transfer like to another school, maybe they should sit out for a season, or
free market.
Yeah,
free market. If a coach can transfer and go wherever he wants to, player needs to have the same ability. Now,
that's true.
Do I think you can tighten it up a little bit? Yeah, but I'm a big free market guy. Let the market do what it's going to do. It's teaching the young men and young ladies to learn about capitalism to a certain extent. People are going to decide. It's just making it more competitive. And guess what? It sells. It's more of a storyline for everyone doing podcasts. It's more of a storyline for people having content on their podcast or storylines for ESPN, Fox Sports to talk about. It's making the young men and women grow up. So I'm open for it. I think there's a healthy way to do it. Disrupting anything during the season. I don't think you should be able to, leave during the season and then go play for another team. I don't think that would be right. But let it stay where it is. Let the market do what it's going to do, and it'll be the true best of the best when it comes down to it.
Yeah, you were talking about the portal opens up headlines and content and stuff like that, and I believe the NIL does the same thing. As far as opening avenues for different people to, whether it's writing a quick jingle for a guy or like doing all of his artwork or anything like that. It just opens up a lot of avenues, and they need to, like, I think with the new rules, they need to have some kind of class, like for these kids to learn how to manage their money somehow, because like there's a lot of money going to be thrown at them, and there's a lot of predators out there, man, a lot of them.
that people always refer to that, Robert, and I've got a different philosophy. People are going to do what they want to do, and they'll find the information that they need to find. There's enough good people doing this the right way. As a matter of fact, one of my good colleagues, Tom Carter, has started his own firm, and so he helps represent the college athletes that are going through this process.
Nice.
And he's doing a fantastic job. He's a doctor. He's got his doctorate. Played in the NFL for 11 years. Worked at Players Association with me.
Nice.
And that's what he wants to do now. So if they want to find credible people, they'll find credible people. But yes, you got to have some type of education around what's going on to keep yourself safe, to make that money last. But you know what? That's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have.
Definitely a good problem to have. So, are you like, do you think it's gonna be more geared like pay for play, or because like to me the name, image, likeness is like a Sprite deal or a local restaurant, not like something tied in with the school, and it just seems like these bogus LLCs are just popping up and backed by boosters, and it just seems like it's going to get into a bidding war for high prize recruits, and it's just I don't want that for college football. I mean, I know it's gone on behind closed doors for years, but I don't think it's been on this level of money.
Well, once you legitimize it, you can see what the true numbers are, right?
Yeah.
Any free market, once it's free and legitimized and open, at that point, I kind of like it because each university can make their own parameters around what they want to do to protect and take care of their athletes. I remember when we first started out about this, I want to say it may have been Dabo, and he said the day a football player starts getting paid will be the day he needs to stop coaching. And you know what? When you pop off at the mouth like that, I see he's still there because he ain't gonna turn down that $9 million he's making. But
for sure, man.
It's a way to protect the student. It's a way to find the true value of what's going on. Any open market is always it's gonna be inflated, and then it comes back and resets itself. So right now, some of the dollars are hard to justify, but free market is going to correct itself over time. But the most important thing is if an athlete's going to make his decision on who's going to pay him the most, sometimes professional athletes don't even make that decision based on that. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. Look at Tom Brady over the course of his career. He's never the highest paid. Michael Jordan wasn't the highest paid. And so I think it's a learning lesson. You'll learn a lot from the players that decide to just take the most that they can get. Hopefully their production better match that payout. Sure. They're learning real quick what it's like to be a professional. And if you don't produce, you don't get paid. So they'll find out.
Do you think that maybe so like if the funds for these salaries come from the university, that like other programs will suffer because you don't think so?
Think about it. Come on, Rob.
Yeah.
Think about it. We've been saying that for decades. Oh, we can't afford this. We can't afford that. That money is so vast. The TV ratings are so good.
See, that's the part I don't know. That's the part I don't know about. The numbers part of it as far as TV ratings. I could just imagine what they're going to be when they hit the SEC.
Oh, look what happened to University of Missouri. In Texas A&M.
Yeah.
The minute they went over there, they got new facilities. Texas A&M started getting better recruits. Texas A&M was an afterthought until they moved over to the SEC.
They got so many
So,
5-star recruits. It's crazy. Crazy amount.
but guess what? With that is going to come a lot of, you got to manage that. Because I don't care how many 5-stars you got.
Yep.
It's only 11 people on offense, 11 people on defense every snap.
Yep.
So,
one football.
One football. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. Did you kind of so like the Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams, there was such a drop off in production from Spencer Rattler, like from the end of the season before, like the way he played against Florida, and from Texas to Florida, or after the Texas, second half or whatever, and then from the beginning of this season, it just wasn't the same at all. And was it? You could say it was the offensive line, like no more Creed Humphrey. So
well, I'm gonna just tell you that's a fact. I mean, look at Creed Humphrey doing as a rookie in the NFL, man. Dude, I went and saw him play. I think it might have been his freshman year, maybe his sophomore year. I really needed to see Kyler Murray because I've been hearing so much about him. And I said, I need to go see this young man in person because my dad saw all of his high school football games. My dad used to go to all games like on Friday night. That's what he loved doing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Nice. And he'd always call me and he's like, man, you got to see this kid, this young man play football. He is unbelievable, Jace. He hadn't lost a game. Make a long story short, I came to see him, but all of a sudden I started looking at Creed and I was like, that is a full-grown man. So, yeah, not having that type of offensive line definitely hurts. Spencer doesn't have the mobility that Caleb had, and so it showed up. I don't think he has the arm strength either. So, trying to funnel the ball through there, it made a difference. And sometimes when you see that competition breathing down your neck, day in and day out, you're like, it puts pressure on you. And some people can rise to it and some people can't. There was a lot of hype around Spencer coming in. And, that's one of the things now with social media and how many followers you can have. Are you a true 4-star, 5-star? Because, the cream's going to rise to the top. When you get on campus, you got to hold that spot down. And you got to compete for 4 years, for 3 years, as long as you're there. And it just gets more and more difficult,
Yeah, they say diamonds are forged under fire and pressure, man. Like,
yep.
Like you can't beat that. I like that saying. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time for the beast to hunt.
Right, every time, and it's like, I don't know. It'll be nice. Venables will get them beasts to come out, and
man, I am looking forward to it because you know what, Oklahoma is always, no matter whether it was the wishbone, whether it was Stoops coming in with the kind of the more spread open, man, our defenses held it together, and that hasn't been the same. That hasn't been the same, and so. I'm looking forward to it, man. Because if you can play if you can play sound defense, you're gonna get the ball back to the offense. You're gonna give the offense short field position, and that's what it's about, man. It's about giving the ball back to the offense. Short field, not giving up anything cheap. That was our issue. We gave up too many cheap touchdowns, too much hidden yardage.
Yeah, so, they like the stat sheet. They give up 300 yards, like against Baylor, the 200 yards in the fourth quarter rushing, man. Like,
man,
that's insane. Like, you
can't
insane. Do that.
I'm just telling you, that's not going to happen with Brent Venables' defense.
Nah.
He holds those guys accountable, and it's just not going to happen. I don't want to hear this stuff. People saying, "Well, it's the Big 12. We got this high-powered offense." No, there's no excuse for giving 200 yards up rushing in a quarter ever. Yeah. I don't care if you're playing high school, Pop Warner, Powder
For sure.
puff, it doesn't. It's that's not football.
Right. Yeah. So you said you went. Your freshman year was '88, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you were there for the 768 yard game against Kansas State.
Oh yeah, we absolutely
Boy, y'all
molly.
y'all
That's
ran
one of the
all over
reasons
them dudes.
that I believe back then. I know we mollywop. We used to mollywop. I think we put 81 on Kansas.
Oof.
And as a matter of fact, they took three of us off red shirt uh, because I mean we were blowing people out so bad. Coach Proctor coming over to us said, "You have to go in the game." I said, "You mind giving up your red shirt?" And I was like, "Hey, I guess." And so T.
Nice.
Ray and I and Charles Frank started playing a little bit, and
Nice.
we were just beating people up.
Yeah,
So
man.
it all worked out.
Nice, man. I was watching some of your highlights. We had some pretty big plays in the NFL, man. Uh, I was watching that the Chargers game, I think it was. You had a pick of Stan Humphries in that game.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. We had played San Diego week is either 14 or 15 back when it was 16 games. And we played them at home. And if we'd have won that game, we'd have hosted a home playoff game.
Mm.
And man, I got roasted for two deep bombs. And it was just not up to the standard of play that I wanted.
Right.
And so the next week we had to play New England, and I was red hot. I was like, hey, if we beat New England, we know we're in the playoffs. So we ended up beating New England, and we got San Diego, and I want to say it was January the 1st. It was New Year's, and
Nice.
I was determined, man. I locked in. I was zoned in all week. It was payback week, and ended up, I think I was player of the game that week, and it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling.
You was a headhunter out there, man. Some of them hits you laid out, boy. I felt sorry for some of them dudes, man.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I would have learned how to adapt, to the new rules. But football was a different game back then.
Oh yeah.
Football was a different game back then, and when you grew up wanting to be Ronnie Lott or Deron Cherry,
Hell yeah.
Man, Eric Turner. Yeah, it was a different game.
Yeah, I was a big Eagles fan, so we had Eric Allen and
I saw you posted that.
yeah, man. Like I love the old school Eagles, man. They were like first time I seen Randall Cunningham play, I fell in love with the QB position, man. Like it was so sweet.
Well, when I came in, it was interesting because Keith was at the Eagles, Keith Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
When he would come back, I knew a lot of his secrets that he had,
Nice.
kind of taught us. And the Eagles were stacked at that time, man. And then you got Urban Fryer was, first round draft pick, first pick overall as a receiver, I think, when he came out.
Nebraska, right? I think he was in Nebraska.
They were putting things. They were putting it together, man. They had some good team. They were physical. Keith Byers.
Yeah, he was a real good fullback, man.
Yeah, Keith Byers was there.
I think it's Jerome Brown. He's the one that died in that car accident, huh?
Yeah, real sad, man.
That was it. Kind of changed the trajectory of the whole Eagles organization, man.
It did. It was a tough one. It was a tough loss for the Eagles organization and the NFL.
Did you play against Donovan McNabb at all? Did you get a chance to play against him?
Played against McNabb a couple of times. The last time I played against him was Peyton Manning's second year. The first year we went 3-13.
Yep.
And then that second year, that's when we went 13-3, and we went up to, I think it was an old Vet Stadium still. And we put it on. We put it on. We put a beat down on him. I had I got Donovan McNabb on a blindside sack.
Nice.
We were good friends though. He played the game the right way. He played the game the right way.
Boy, man, the flick of the wrist, 60 yards down the field. He threw such a nice long bomb, dude.
Yeah, McNabb could play. McNabb could play.
So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end it on a who, what, and why.
All right.
So for the who, who's your GOAT NBA player? Your greatest of all time. That's a tough one, man.
It is not tough. It is not. It is not tough. Greatest of all time is when you got 6 and 6. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But I'm just telling you, I'll take LeBron any day of the week.
Yeah.
I'll take, my memories are rooted in, as a kid, watching Michael Jeffrey Jordan, him invite me to playoff games and sitting in the booth with his mom. So, nice. I have to respect that from the standpoint of the greatest of all time. If you want to say Kareem, I wouldn't argue with you on that one. But I think the way LeBron is continuing to play at a high level, it's just completely amazing to me. I mean, completely amazing. Yeah, but I'll leave it at Michael Jordan.
All right. Go with a 1A and 1B, huh?
Yeah.
So and then we got for what's the coldest game you ever played in your career?
Woo, man! The coldest game I ever played in was up in New England, and all I'm gonna tell you is, put it this way: when grown men are hiding in the locker room at halftime, and literally when we decided to come out of the locker room, and it was at the old Foxborough Stadium. Right. I mean, it was a hole. It was just terrible. They had already lined up the ball to kick off, and half of our team was still trickling out of the locker room. Nice. Ted Archer-Broda absolutely lost it. Boy, he absolutely lost it. But I want to say wind chill, it might have been minus. It was in the minus. So minus 5, minus 10, somewhere around there. And then I got one more though. We played Nebraska in Thanksgiving. I want to say that was 90. I think it was Tommy. It was maybe 1990. And it was sleeting. And so it was just cold enough where the sleet was sticking to your skin. And that was miserable. And we lost.
To Nebraska, that's even worse, man.
Yeah.
So and then lastly we're gonna go why is the University of Oklahoma so special to you?
The University of Oklahoma is so special to me because it was where I wanted to go to school. I tell the young people today, it was just the pride of being a Sooner. Barry Switzer, legendary coach from my mother's hometown, Crossett, Arkansas. They took a chance on an undersized, small safety that not many people were recruiting, and gave me the opportunity to live out my dream. So, that crimson and cream, it'll always be with me. From the leadership that I saw there, in all aspects of my college tenure there, from Senator Bourne President Bourne giving me an opportunity to go to DC my junior year and be a page and see how the inner workings of the government and world powers make decisions, transformed and shaped my life. And then seeing his leadership as a president, handling, difficult situations, and just the overall athletic community, the way they always support the athletes that are on that campus has always been tremendous. So that's the why. To me, there's no other university when it comes to athletics and academics, and I just love it. Always
Nice.
will.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate you stopping by the old BoomerCast.
Hey, man, congratulations to you on starting something that's your passion. The BoomerCast will be well represented, and I appreciate waking up to. I'm not here for the number of people I got on my Twitter account.
Right,
All of a sudden, it went over. I think it was like 150 in one night from you. So
nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
Anything I can ever do for you, don't hesitate to ask. All right.
Sounds good, bud.
All right. Be
Boomer
safe.
Sooner.
Boomer Sooner. I've never done it, but I'll let you all do it. I've never done it. I was always taught to respect my opponent. So